Leadership doesn't make you alone overnight. It happens gradually. Conversations, they change. Access, well, that shifts. What you carry becomes heavier and harder to share. And one day, you realize something quietly unsettling. You're surrounded by people, but fewer people really know what you're carrying. That that's the loneliness of leadership nobody warns you about. See, here's the truth most leaders don't want to say publicly. Leadership, it creates distance even when relationships remain healthy. Not because you are the one that's pulling away and not because others are being disloyal. It's because responsibility changes and the shape of the connection. You can't process everything out loud anymore. You can't vent the same way you used to. And you can't always be fully transparent without affecting the morale, the confidence, or even the trust. So you learn to carry more internally. And that internal load, it's lonely. Before leadership, you have peers everywhere. After leadership, you have a peer group that narrows. Not everyone can hear what you see. Not everyone can hold what you're holding. And some people just they depend solely on you. Others report to you. Some look to you for clarity, even when you don't feel clear yourself. So you filter, you choose your words carefully, you manage the tone, you carry unresolved tension longer than you would like. Leadership doesn't remove relationships. What it does is it reclassifies them. And that reclassification, it has a cost. See, this surprises people. Leadership loneliness isn't primarily about feelings. It's about structure. You sit in a different seat. You see different information. You carry different consequences to your actions. That structural shift, it creates a gap that empathy alone can't close. I felt this in moments where decisions were necessary, but they weren't exactly popular. You can understand people deeply and still move in a direction that they don't agree with. Here's where leadership gets personal. Loneliness has a way of revealing what you lean on internally. Do you seek constant affirmation? Do you maybe over explain? Do you avoid decisions just to stay connected? So I've had to face this before myself in leadership, moments where the hardest part of leadership wasn't making the decision, it was sitting with the emotional aftermath quietly, not rushing to justify, not looking for immediate agreement, not needing to be understood right away. See, leadership matures you by asking, can you stand alone without becoming isolated? There was a point where I assumed leadership loneliness meant that I was doing something wrong. Now I see it completely differently. It doesn't mean you're disconnected. It means you're carrying responsibility appropriately. See, the danger isn't loneliness itself. It's what you do with it. When leaders don't acknowledge this loneliness, they either harden or they seek relief in unhealthy places. And neither ends well. But when leaders accept this part of the role that they're leaning into, they learn how to carry with steadiness instead of resentment. Loneliness in leadership, it isn't something to eliminate. It's something to manage and manage well. You don't solve it by undersharing. You don't solve it by withdrawing. You solve it by developing depth. Depth in reflection, depth in conviction, depth in a small number of trusted relationships that aren't threatened by honesty or responsibility. Leadership doesn't require many voices. It just requires the right ones. If leadership feels lonely, that doesn't mean that you've lost connection. It means you've gained stewardship. Loneliness is often the space where clarity forms, where patience it grows, where character is refined. The goal isn't to escape that space. The goal is to remain grounded while you are actually in it. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. Leadership doesn't isolate you. It differentiates you. And that differentiation, it can feel lonely if you weren't prepared for it. And here's what I've learned. The loneliness of leadership isn't a flaw in the role. It's part of the responsibility. And leaders who learn to carry it without hardening, without hiding, and without needing constant affirmation, those leaders are the people trust when it matters the most.